Let's bring in an expert, someone who actually understands a lot about the use of force and when police use it.
Timothy Williams.
Tim Williams Jr.
Timothy Williams
30
Jr.
years of
has written a book
experience
that's
at
He's
the
also the author of
LAPD.
a deep dive
Thank you
and
so
expert
much.
analysis of police procedure, use of force, and wrongful convictions.
My name is Timothy T. Williams Jr. I am a police procedure, use of force, and wrongful conviction expert here in the city of Los Angeles. My company is T.T. Williams Jr. Investigations, Inc., and I've been in practice for approximately 18 years. I'm a retired Senior Detective Supervisor from the Los Angeles Police Department, last assigned to the elite Robbery Homicide Division. I was born and raised in Oakland, California in the late 40s and the early 50s. And Oakland was a lot different than what you see now. I was raised in East Oakland, and East Oakland was a very cosmopolitan, very integrated community. As I reflect back to my childhood, especially into my music, I had to spend a lot of attention to details and immerse myself in a major amount of music as far as scales and arpeggios and the exercises, if you will. And it instilled a discipline in me for excellence, and especially in the area of competition.
More of California's finest with Ted Mack and the original Amateur Hour.
Now from Oakland, California, a 17-year-old violinist. And this young fellow must really know his instrument because he's the concert master at Castlemount High School and won the first place award at the Junior Bach Festival. And now he's trying his wings on coast-to-coast television. See how he comes out in that amateur hour competition. This is Timothy Williams, Jr.
What I've learned through my formative years has allowed me to embrace and do what I do now in a very disciplined and focused manner. I was in the military during the Vietnam era. In those days, we still had a draft. And as my number was coming up, I joined the military so I would have control over my destiny or where I was going. And I wanted to go into clinical laboratory work. Well, in order to do that, you have to see if you have the aptitude for that. So I took an exam, I tested high, and I was sent to clinical lab school after basic training. I went to Fort Sam Houston, Texas. And that was the most intensive study that I've ever been through in my life. What was a driving force for me every day, the instructor said, if you flunk out of here, if you fail an exam, I'm going to send you down the hill to medic school and send you to Vietnam. From there, I went to Walter Reed. Didn't know anything about Walter Reed. Little did I know that I was going to the best of the best as it relates to duty, assignments, and clinical laboratory. In 1974 is when I got into law enforcement. And, as a Black in law enforcement, that was, those were some trying times. When I came out of the department, there was about 250 Blacks in the department. And at that time, Davis wanted to integrate the Valley. The chief, Ed Davis, was the chief of police when I came on. And so I ended up going to the Valley. I didn't see anyone who looked like me. Crime was off the charts. I was working in South Central Los Angeles during that time. And I was working homicide very early, it's late 70s, early 80s. And you have about 300 homicides a year. What happened to Rodney King was the first time something like that was captured on tape. But when they caught it on tape, it kind of pulled the scab off of the crime that's been going on in the Black communities for decades, longer than I was living at that time, and even during my parents' time when they were children. We knew that the city would implode, and it did. During and around Rodney King, and I would say before, from 1974 up until the time I retired, it prepared me for what I am doing now. I know the mentality of law enforcement. I know how law enforcement police minority communities. I see it up close and personal. I worked in minority communities and white communities, and I know the different types of policing that go on, not only in Southern California, but throughout this country. It's a systemic issue that is not unique to LA or LAPD, but it's unique to law enforcement agencies throughout this country. I created the Major Assault Crimes Unit, which is the domestic violence unit for LAPD. When I left Los Angeles Police Department, as they say, I went to the other side. So what I did, I wrote a proposal to the presiding judge at that time, and the presiding judge then thought it was great. He approved it, and I was the only one in Los Angeles County Superior Court that was on the expert panel list for police procedure. I was on there for about 5 years, so I created that position in LA County Superior Court. And I always wanted to make a difference in the communities in which I work, either be in law enforcement or what I am doing now. I have testified 218 times in trial and in deposition. That's a heck of a lot of testimony.